They thought very highly of themselves. They had this air of superiority, and even to this day, the Masons consider us as profane and impious and unsacred. However, when they refer to a spiritual superiority, they are referring to their deep things, the deep things that the Lord brands and reveals as satanic. And the teacher at the lodge continues, therefore, the simple minds needed to fall victims to the acts of this hateful, strange religion, and here they mean Christianity, an enemy of the free research, the free researchers, and these are the people of knowledge. By the way, don't forget that the lodges are called workshops, and in these workshops, the philosophical studies and research take place. By the way, the word Mason can be deceiving. Don't think for a second that the Masons in their lodges, they have building tools, hammers, chisels, nails, vice grips, and the like. The teacher continuing his initiation says, and pay attention here, the most significant characteristic of Gnosticism is the doctrine of a two-person God. To the Gnostic, God has two persons. This knowledge takes into consideration two origins, good and evil, or better yet, spirit and matter, another expression by which these two persons or origins reveal themselves. So godliness has two forms. We could visualize a body with two faces, one good and one evil, somewhat of a two-faced God, or two gods. According to Gnostic thought, the teacher continues, God is a supernatural being, invisible, and made manifest by two totally opposite qualities. One of these two qualities or faculties, the creator or the architect of the universe, created the earth and fashioned men. Unfortunately, the other faculty also took part in this creation, and the other faculty of godliness, an enemy of the source of good. And why is that? Gnosticism does not give any explanation. It has no answers. It simply limits itself to the acknowledgement of this unquestionable fact, unquestionable to them, being that good and evil coexist in nature, and therefore the second participates in the creation of the world. Truly, my friends, Gnosticism has never succeeded to solve the problem of the source of good and evil. And this is true. They don't know how to approach it. They cannot answer it, so they don't answer it at all. You see how and why they fabricate all these myths to try to explain a few things. And the teacher continues, but the Gnostics hoped, and the Freemasons after them also hoped, so here the Masons call themselves the natural descendants of the ancient Gnostics. So here this is very obvious. There's no room for doubt whatsoever. So the Freemasons hope that a higher spirit will free humanity someday from the yoke of matter. So the Masons do not believe that Christ is our deliverer, but Christ did not come to deliver us from matter. And here comes the knockout punch to the Gnostics. God is not opposed to matter or the body, but the eternal spirit became matter. He took on a human body. He became man, and he came to save and deliver this matter, and not to deliver us from matter. Do you see now, my friends, the destructive positions of these heresies? Yesterday, I was listening to a religious program on the radio between 7 and 7:30 at night, and at some point, I only listened for about 5 minutes. At some point towards the end, one of the commentators who was speaking about funeral services and souls and the place of the soul, And he happened to mention that the souls go back to their original place where they came from. What place? And where is this soul center place that emails souls back and forth? This is an ancient Greek delusion. This is a Platonic falsehood. Souls do not pre-exist. But what can someone say in this world of terrible delusion? So getting back to the Masonic ritual, the Masons hope for a higher and superior spirit to free humanity from the yoke of matter. And this hope is a simple hope or a feeling of progress. Hopefully the future will give the answer to this question. However, progress, this slow influence of the spirit, which will save humanity, must be helped by the human effort, and especially from the Masons. Regardless of what the Christian leaders say, popes and patriarchs, that is, Gnosis was never a heresy, but the philosophy of Christianity is a heresy. This is terrible. They call Christianity a heretical philosophy. If Gnosis did not live on, at least it was instrumental in the deterioration of the other religions, on the tombs of which Christianity founded its dynasty. And from this we see the hope of the Masons or Neo-Gnostics, their hope to destroy all religions and especially Christianity and Orthodoxy. And the teacher continues his initiation. Gnosis, or knowledge, came at a time of a universal collapse of beliefs and ideas. This is true. It did well with the polytheists and idolaters. It stated to them that you no longer have a philosophy of religion. You're only left with mythology and skepticism. So Gnosticism rendered these systems useless. To the Jews, it taught their revelation is incomplete, since it only springs forth from only the one divine person, being the work of a single source. So you don't know the ultimate being, and you don't know how to interpret his law. A proof of this serves the fact that you are still awaiting a Messiah to deliver you from your estranged and deteriorated civilization. Simply put, since you speak about one God, your revelation is incomplete, because God is also the evil God. The proof of the existence of the evil God is that you are expecting a Savior to save you from evil. What evil? Nature. Do you see how they place their thoughts? Now, to the Christians, Gnosis was saying, your leader was the highest manifestation of genius. This is true. But the apostles did not understand his teachings, and their disciples alter their writings, which were left to them. Therefore, Christianity is useless because it does not represent what Christ taught. According to them, Christ was a great Gnostic and a great Mason. This is precisely why Freemasonry, the only true religion, having assumed the work of Gnosticism, will succeed to destroy the false religions starting from the Roman heresy. By this they mean the Church of Rome, because these lodges are in Western Europe, and their obvious enemy was the Church of Rome. For years, the Western European Masons overlooked Orthodoxy. They always attacked Rome, especially when Orthodoxy was enslaved by the Turks, the Ottoman Empire. But now they are very aware of Orthodoxy, and they are not very happy that it has lasted for 2,000 years. They want to destroy Orthodoxy and Christianity as well. So Masonry took the mission of Gnosticism, and as Christians we will fight against Masons, because you, the Masons, are under the name of Jezebel, and we will continue to fight against you. My friends, this is what they write in their instruction manuals, and you clearly saw that they are children of Gnosticism. I've told you this many, many times, and I'm going to continue to repeat it. Masonry is Gnosticism. And having been given this opportunity from the book of the Revelation, I especially underline this. We must also add that Gnostics used to worship Cain. They're followers of Cain. They also venerated Canaan, the grandson cursed by Noah, Esau, who did not get Isaac's blessing, Korah, who rebelled and spoke back to Moses, Bathram and Abiram. These are the people that argued with Moses, and the earth opened up and swallowed them. All this in the Old Testament. They also venerate all of the above peoples we mentioned, but especially from the New Testament, they venerate Judas the Iscariot, who betrayed the Lord. They looked at the betrayal as an act of philosophical virtue. Do you know why? Because they simply believed that the men of the Old Testament were people of Yahweh, the Lord, and therefore followers of the bad God, the evil God, because this evil God created matter, created the natural world, and due to this, he's an evil God. However, those that rebel against the followers of the bad God are Cain, Canaan, Esau, Korah, and all the others, the ones that we mentioned. Anyone who rebelled against the God of the Old Testament is a great hero for the Gnostics, because they came to oppose the people of God who worshipped the bad God, the creator of matter, the creator of the universe. But pay attention to this. Cain is the father of civilization in the Old Testament, and this is their boast, their pride and joy. The Masons love Cain because he's the man who venture out to search and gain knowledge, civilization, where Abel and Seth were losers. They were halvadas, as we say in Greek. The Masons don't want them because they are people of faith. Do you understand now the concept, knowledge versus faith? Knowledge turns against faith. But Christ introduced faith, and Judas, by his betrayal, wanted to kill this phenomenon of faith. And he did this to promote knowledge, which was the weapon of the Gnostics. This is why they honored Judas. And moving ahead to the initiation of the 18th degree, which is called the Rosicrucians, there the symbol of the initiation is a cross surrounded or encircled by roses. For someone who has no clue about these matters, this cross may appear most articulate and even beautiful. There's an inscription on this cross with Latin letters, INRI, and again, someone could think, well, that's easy enough, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Well, it does not mean this at all. For those outside of Masonry, maybe, but not for the Masonic disciples. The teacher says to the 18th degree disciple, read this, INRI, and the disciple answers, Igne natura renovator indegna. Nature is renewed totally through fire. So this cross has nothing to do with Jesus, the Nazarene King of the Jews. But the fire renovates nature completely. But this was a teaching of the Stoic philosophy. This is also taught by materialism. If you would open the small philosophical dictionary of communism, you will find this definition. How does nature renew itself? Nature always existed, exists, and it will always exist as an eternal fire. This is Stoic philosophy. The communist philosophers borrowed this from the Stoics. So this is the cross of the Rosicrucians. There's even more, and I read from the manual. The cross, having been an object of worship, was not only the simple image of the equinoxes, when the sun during its annual path covers these 2 points successively, so this was not the only meaning of the cross for those initiated. So the cross is the